Now, since I talked about Daki, I have Gyutaro. And Gyutaro was the real Upper Moon Six. Like, he was the muscle. She was like, I don't want to say she was the brains too, but she kind of like, was the one walking around and like, confusing the humans, if you will. She was the one, and then he hid inside of her. He came out, and she was like, "Oh, they're bullying me and shit," and that ticked him off. He was like, "You're fucking with my sister, now I have to fight you." And he was fighting against Tengen, who he thought, was privileged and other things, but because like when he came up, and he found out when he died and shit that he was, abused and for being ugly and other things, and then he had to fight for his sister, um, because they lived in the slums. And then they became demons because his sister had been burned because she attacked some guy that was trying to, take her. And she was like, "No, I want to stay with my brother." And then, he was like, "My sister." And then Doma came and turned them into demons. But during this time, like during the time that Tengen and Tanjiro were fighting against him, he almost killed Hanatsuru. Hanatsuru, she was one of Tengen's wives, and she was over there, and he was fast. Like, he got to the bitch quick. He grabbed her fucking mouth, and he was using his blood demon arts, those sickles, and he actually took Tengen's arm, and he fucked his eye up too, and put demon poison inside of him. He was fucked up pretty bad. He had to push past his limits during this fight, even as being a Hashira. And like everybody else did too. Tanjiro did too. He broke fucking, like, after he, used an explosion. I don't know what move he used, but he, fucked up the red light district. And he saw Tanjiro was still breathing, and he was like, "Okay, I'll break your fingers." Boom, boom, boom. And he was breaking his fingers and shit. And he was like, "Well, oh fuck, they're about to go off." But fucking after he had because he's a fire department. But he had, speaking of fire, it was all fucked up. But then, Tanjiro and Tengen ended up defeating him. Tengen, was backing Tanjiro up, and, Tanjiro was backing up Tengen, and they were like, going in on his ass. And they ended up beheading his ass. At the same time, they had to cut his head off at the same time. Now, like I said, he had sickles, and he had like the demon poison on there. So like if he cut you, you were gonna, be poisoned, lethally. But also, he had like long range skills too. Like his blood was like, he could use it as like an explosion, like other thing, like whiplashes and shit of blood coming at you from different angles and shit. But he was an issue himself. Had he not had a sister there, he actually would have been more of a problem. That's what I think. But Gyutaro, his strength's at a 91%, speed 91%, durability 92%, 93 for his endurance, 89 for his intelligence, 92 for his experience, 95 for his close skills, and a 93 for his range skills, 91 for his recoup, and a 91 for his hands. So overall power score is at a 91.7 for Gyutaro during the Entertainment District arc. But be cool on the corner.